I sent out an email, I put Leah on, and requested a few things. We asked, where did it come from, of why did it come up all of a sudden? We feel like it's all of a sudden because it's been like this for many years. Yeah. And then we asked if it's possible to have an agreement with the city and the school, if that is a possibility. And then I talked to him, and he finally brought some light to it. So he says this isn't the only reason, but the reason why it came up, when it came up, I guess the school had requested some striping for the parking. So there was some striping that was done, and then they got an email, that looks good. What about the striping for the parking, the perpendicular parking? So it was you that asked about
I asked about
crosswalks?
not necessarily the parking. I asked about the crosswalks, and he explained to me that this project that was going to come to fruition.
Gotcha.
Because he wanted really to work on a solution for this dangerous railroad crossing we have over here.
Right.
Because the kids have to pass on the tracks because of that dip. So that's what started it. And I asked them when they were going to come finish painting the crosswalks or repaint the crosswalks.
Then he said he got a communication of that looked good, but what about
what do we need to do about parking? And that's
gotcha. Okay. So I never knew about that.
I just wanted to know if we needed to stripe it or
Sure.
what we needed to do.
Sure.
And then I've talked to Heath Bozeman too since you and I talked, and it sounds like it's parallel parking.
Gotcha.
So, and the main reason I think that they're going to recommend the parallel parking, even if, I mean, it hasn't caused a problem all these years parking the way we have. Like, this has been an ordinance that's been on the books in 1950 forward and has never been enforced. I've never seen parallel parking at Kress all the years I've been here, 35. So,
Right.
And I was talking to him, and he said, well, there's a maintenance agreement between the TxDOT and the city, and TxDOT maintains that road, and it's expensive to maintain. Then they're always going to recommend parallel parking. So he just kind of was like, well, we're not starting anything probably from a year from now in terms of the sidewalks and the plan coming up. So we're not in any hurry to forced to parallel park or angle park or whatever until they're done. They're going to assume there's going to be parallel parking, but they're not going to do much.
Well, let me go ahead. I'm going to read this letter from Parkhill real quick, and then I'll share a little bit of some more conversation we had. But Parkhill sent, in response to the requested traffic study proposal, dear Mr. Taylor, City of Kress has requested that Parkhill provide an estimate for services to conduct a traffic survey on SL 292 to determine if angle parking is safer than parallel parking along Ripley Avenue west of the school. I have conducted a high-level review of this issue and contacted Heath Bozeman, TxDOT area engineer. Unfortunately, I cannot in good faith deliver what you are asking. At the end of the day, angle parking requires a backing movement into active traffic. Regardless of traffic volume, additionally, backing movements are among the top incident-related activities. Given these safety concerns and our inability to properly develop the requested survey and provide a recommendation, I feel it would be irresponsible to proceed with the project as requested. I recommend exploring alternative solutions that prioritize the safety of all road users. Thank you for considering our services. I appreciate you understanding and wish you the best in finding a suitable resolution in this matter.
Yes, he shared that with me. Basically, common English, it just says, if we do that, we're just taking your money, because bottom line is parallel parking.
Yeah, and another thing,
We could, they're not going to take it on as a job because they know it's not feasible.
sure.
Their
Well, they don't want to take our
conclusion is
money. Yeah.
They don't want to take their money because the conclusion, they're going to fall back to the TxDOT policy of their parallel parking. That's why.
Well, they just won't be able to make a conclusion that it would be
No.
safe.
No, they can't. It's TxDOT.
So,
And that's a conclusion I've gotten from discussion with,
other engineers?
yes.
Okay. Another thing he made mention of, he goes, Johnny, if anything ever happens and you guys are allowing perpendicular parking, the city liability, the city and the school will be liable for that.
But we've never had anybody hurt, let's say somebody did, then it would be a liability for us.
Correct. So, a couple things I was looking at, because I asked Heath too, he said he needs to go back out there and verify, but I do not believe the loop continues to the bus barns. So I don't know, maybe a consideration be parallel parking down both sides of that street and then parallel parking turning going towards the baseball field on the side of the elementary would help cover a lot of that. And then parking on both sides, because we don't really park on both sides now. And if we did park on both sides in front of the elementary, high school, and utilize those other roads, we would probably be much safer and
Yeah.
be
He
compliant.
also suggested when they get ready to do the work, that they can work with us in providing a drop-off zone.
Yeah.
The way they did it.
Of course, yes, or some striping and stuff like that.
Yeah, and encourage the drop-off zone not to be right there in the intersection or parking in the crosswalk like they do.
Correct.
So he also said that time that we can look at that, and they're going to redo the handicap parking.
On high school.
Handicap accessibility we have in front of the school down my office.
Correct.
It's not done correctly.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think you and I pretty much did our best to come up with a better solution, but at the end of the day, I don't think there is one, is there?
No, we're just going to leave it as it is. Wait. Continue parking, well, encourage the parallel parking. We'll try to adjust some of that parking, but right now, as Mr. Bozeman left me, it's like, well, I'm not going to come and ticket you for parking, angle parking. So
The city,
what are we going to do?
the city stance has got to be, we need to parallel park. We can't agree that we're going to allow the other because we can't make that statement. We cannot make the statement that we're going to be okay with it until a certain time. Because if we did do that, we would be liable if something happened. I have a saying, my workers are tired of hearing it. Everything's okay until it's not okay. And in this world of ours, we've seen a lot of stuff these last few years that we've never seen before in our lifetime that we never thought we'd have to deal with. So the last thing I would want to do as city management is to say, okay, we're going to continue to look the other direction. We are going to ask the school to develop a plan to have their employees to parallel park. And whatever you need from the city for that, we will be there for you to help you put that together. I'm hoping that's coming across as helpful as possible.
We're just going to have to hard sell the savers and system.
You didn't do it. I didn't do it. It's the way the state says it's going to be. And we just got to figure it out from there, I think.
I think we're in agreement on that.
You agree? Good.
That's
Well,
gonna be.
that's great. So if anybody else, any input on that from the panel? Just got to figure it out from there.
So how would you do it for that building? Okay, so we have other people coming in and stuff? Parallel parking is not gonna fit everybody.
They're not going to parallel park. I'm not police.
Yeah.
We can't force them.
Our job, we need to work with the school. The school knows what needs to be done and go from there. If the school is, and employees of the school is doing what they're supposed
I can tell the
to.
employees at the school and you're like, who I'm over, 3 people. As far as visitors coming to a game, I have no enforcement. Parking. I'm not.
They
So if-
basically, in Plainview, they just put up no parallel parking or whatever. Whoever parks, whatever the way they're gonna park is on the owner of the car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
that
that's,
takes
and that's probably what, we'll have some signs put up for that reason. And I'll put it back on the state. If you want to enforce it, you need to go do this. But, and then DPS will be the one to
And
handle that.
we had some discussion in enlarging the parking lot that we have over here on the student parking lot. Pushing it all the way as far as we can within the limits of the railroad crossing, making the parking lot bigger there. I mean, some people have suggested, why don't you turn the tennis courts into parking lot? The school board does not want to do that. We just updated lighting over there. We still have kids that want to play tennis. They play tennis now. And if they want to go to competition playing tennis, we take them. And then we're adding basketball court. Our goal is that because kids lost their place to play when we put the fence on the backside to protect the smaller children. Plus, it's safer for us to see them out there under lights rather than back behind the buildings in the dark. And they're saying they're playing basketball and we're finding, joints and other things over there that we don't need to find. So
Yep.
that's what their plan is for the tennis court, not parking. And so, there's parking. We've been directing visitors around to the backside of the space to park. And they'll park it there. So we're just going to have to do some of that. Visitors park around the back. We're opening that ticket booth on that side. So we're not having congested parking, but you've seen.
That's not basketball.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Basketball, so
Basketball.
I can't control where people park. I can't control where they
Well,
park.
here's the deal that I did. I called him today myself because I wanted to hear exactly what he, and here is kind of the bottom line of what we just talked about. They just put up the parallel sign that says parallel parking. And if people choose to not parallel park, and park at an angle, and they get something happen, it's on them. That's exactly what he told. So it has
It's not
nothing
on
to do,
the
the city
school,
can't
it's
enforce
not on the
it,
city.
the school can't enforce it, we don't have an officer to enforce it. And if we did have an officer to enforce it, well, then that'd be like a police department, which we don't have. So, he said, put up the sign, he said it's like a trespassing sign. He says, if you got a bull and you got a fence and you put up a no trespassing sign and you decide to crawl over that fence and that bull gets you, that's on you and the bull, that ain't on nobody else.
I run from both boards. As a kid, I was in that kind of problem, so I didn't know.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
I mean, that's what he said. He said, that's about all you can
what I'm
put it
trying to
up.
say.
We should be able to control employees and we should be able to control the city.
But we can control your city. I can say we're going to do this, but I can't control people.
We know that. They don't have to do the cell phone company on the
Yeah, and it's
school phone, and they're still.
So I'm glad you brought that up, but I do want to make sure everybody understands what a school zone is. An active school zone is a time period when the lights are flashing and active during a certain time, which is typically about 30 minutes before school, and you can do 30 minutes after, but when those lights are flashing, that's an active school zone. It is not
all day long.
4:40 in the evening or after. So to make that very clear to the community, just so they know. All righty. Anything else on that topic? Definitely appreciate your help on that, and
Thank you.
thank you very much for working through that, and we'll move forward. And that way, the state will be happy, and we can get all of our updates.